Okay, here we have the PiBow. PiBow is a multi-layered Raspberry Pi case. So this is a standard Raspberry Pi. It's the famous £25, $30, €30 computer that's been launched here in the UK. This is was also a UK design, even though it's quite a European spelling on the PiBow. So this is Pimoroni. The company, it's based in Sheffield in the UK, which is in the north of England, and as you can see, it's 9 layers. So you've got a clear top and a clear bottom. They've got white plastic covering, which I've got to peel off. Same with all the different coloured layers. So there's a protective layer on the side that they've not etched. And as you can see, this is going to be quite a multicoloured, quite a fruity, quite a colourful and joyous case. And my main criteria for Raspberry Pi cases is they have a clear top. I think it's all about being able to see the electronics and bringing general awareness to the dinky device that we have here nowadays that we all call a computer. And this is very much going to do that. So PiBow, UK company, UK design, and fantastic colours here that I think are going to look rather nice. This bag here contains, they've actually given me 5, but there's plastic bolts, little hand-tie bolts. This colourful unit here is actually a tool, so this is being cut to allow me to easily tighten up the plastic nut threads. This is actually all made of shatterproof acrylic, so I say plastic, I'm not so sure about the compression nuts and bolts, but ultimately you're going to get one in each of the 4 corners. It's going to hold the sandwich of colourful layers together with a Raspberry Pi inside, and you'll get to see a rather nice case. So I'm going to do this assembly step by step. I'm going to peel off the plastic, show you the differences. I'll do some more close-ups because these colourful layers have actually all got laser etched numbers in them, so it's really easy to see how these are going to stack up. Really simple instructions, and I'm going to do this step by step and let you see this case construct, and I hope at the end you'll agree, pretty colourful case. Okay, I've now peeled off all the various white backing of all the layers, the top and the bottom base. Don't need that anymore. So it's a sandwich unit, and I'm going to just do this step by step. There's an interesting point to this. It's a little bit different to the way other cases are made, and I like the way PiBow are going to support and allow changes to the overall case design with possibly different layers, and as add-ons and changes occur for the Raspberry Pi itself, they're proposing to change just the bits necessary to this case to allow you to, for example, this is the back and the bottom of the standard PiBow case. They're already proposing to have a VESA mount adapter, so possibly a completely different bottom, possibly bigger, just so it can then actually allow you to screw this onto the back of a monitor. So you've actually got your Raspberry Pi on the back of a monitor, television, whatever, doing perhaps a more of an AV role. So that's just an example. So it's quite modular. So as you go through these things, you're gonna be thinking, oh, what about that? What if I wanted access to this connector, that connector? What if I wanted to do something here? Well, I think they're going to do that, including possibly when the Raspberry Pi Foundation launch a camera that's coming up again. So I think the Raspberry Pi and PiBow are going to keep working on these things, and the Pimoroni group are definitely on their website claiming to full-heartedly support all the various mods, etc. as we go. Okay, so anyway, let's get on with the build. So this is the base layer. You want to make sure you've got it the right way around. I've got it currently upside down. I can read the logo, etc., and that's not the idea. I want to be able to read that when the unit's upside down, so I've got to turn it over. And I've now got my first number 0 up there on the upper left. So I'm going to just follow the instructions, and it's layer 1 and 2. And again, you can see the 1 here, you can see the 2 here. So we've now got ourselves the first, let's say 0, 1, 2 in place, and we're going to insert the actual Raspberry Pi board itself. So on the Raspberry Pi board, it's just worth having a little look and getting familiar with the Raspberry Pi board before you pop it in the case, because it'll make a lot more sense about what the case is doing and how this is going to fit in here. So on the very bottom on this side here, you've got the receiver end for the SD card. Okay, so when you're assembling just even these 3 layers, what you'll have noticed is on the very bottom purple layer, I'm going to try and angle this, I'm not doing this too well actually, let's try and get that again. The very bottom layer, so underneath this blue, I'm going to just take the blue off temporarily, and you can see this even clearer now. That's a much better way of doing it. you can see that there's a cut through and a gap here, not just to allow the SD card to be pushed in, but also a reinforcing bit of acrylic, not just for this ring layer, but also it's going to help support some areas of the Raspberry Pi board. So it's a nice definable area that's going to support the actual Raspberry Pi within the unit. Okay, now obviously I meant to have this layer and I took it off just to show you that in a little bit more detail. So let's get back to the plan, and we have here 0, 1, 2, then in goes the Raspberry Pi. Again, the SD side just slotting down through layer 2 onto layer 1, so it's just fitting. Now all this is going to wobble around, you know, it's certainly not held in place by anything, but already I can see that that's fitting how it's meant to fit. And now we can start adding some other real colours. So we have layer 3, and you do need to be dropping these on top of the units. So this has been done to fit around and to really build up a really nice feel to the board. And all you've got to do is to make sure that the Raspberry Pi is well seated, etc. And each time you put a layer on, just make sure you're not snagging anywhere, and a little bit of playing, and you'll very quickly have a nice smooth layer to then apply the next layer. And then of course layer 4, don't quite think I need to count through these with you. And now the orange layer, red layer. Now I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call this, whether you call this maroon or I'm not sure. So okay, and another purpley red layer on top, and then finally the case. Again, make sure you got this right around. This time I do want to read all these symbols. So I've got here all the indication for the lights, the USB above the USB sockets, the network connectivity above the network sockets, etc. So I know I've got the right way around, and I'm going to just hold this in my hands, hoping it doesn't all slide and fall out of my hands. And I can see I've got myself really snug layers. I've got nothing wrong here, and although it's not perfectly lined up, I know I've not got any problems with my lining up, and I can also see that the case and all the supplied layers are doing the right job. Now then, I only need 4 of these 5 nuts and bolts that they've supplied me, and I guess it's a choice for you which way up you want the, let's say, the nut, and which way you want the head. Personally, I'm going to have the screw head end on the bottom and the nut on the top, and I don't think that's because I'm going to have anything proud sticking up. I just, I personally think it's aesthetically, I think the screw head makes for me a little bit of a better foot. It's round, and of course I'm not saying the nut has sharp edges, but it's there are no corners on a circle, so I'm going to for that approach. And if I change my mind, it's only going to be a 5-minute job to unslide some of these and to reposition. Now I'm literally finding and feeling my way through here, because although they're lined up, the very first one, I'm not perfect. I can already see by the separation that I haven't quite found my corner here, so I might have to do a little bit of cheating here, and that just needed that little bit of alignment. And I can see now I've got myself my very first screw all the way through there. Now I'm going to just quickly hand thread one of these nuts on top, and they really don't need the tools, any tools. However, PiBow have supplied you, I'm not peeled off the white layer on this, but they've supplied you an acrylic tool that perfectly fits over the nut and acts as a really nice simple tool. So it really is no tools required. You can use your nail or a very fat flathead screwdriver to just support this side. And I'm going to just do quickly one more, just so I get a bit of stability. But as you can see, it's a lot easier the second one, because of course I've already got all the main layout line up, sorry, for the layers, and it should be really straightforward case now. Now the nuts, the screws, etc. are pretty flexible, so I'm finding it they do bend a little bit, not detrimentally so. Possibly that's why they supplied me 5. Possibly people have had problems lining up, but I've now got all 4 in. I'm going to just quickly hand screw again. I'm not going to tighten this up yet. I want to just show you a few more things before I go and do that, just so that the cover doesn't fall off. Now personally, I'm hoping you're going to agree, you can already see this quite funky coloration going on here. This is really quite a fun and joyful colour set they've got here. So it's a real kind of rainbow going on here, which I guess is why they've called the product a Pibo. And just about there, make sure you get the threads right. Obviously you've got to be a little bit careful here. So one thing I mentioned at the very beginning is that, and you can see this a little bit on the very red layer, so there's actually a recess here. Now what that recess is for is just allowing enough room for a ribbon cable to come out. So if you have actually got a connector, a ribbon connector plugged into the Raspberry Pi, you can take off the top layer, the colour I can't quite name, whether it be a burgundy or a maroon, not sure, but then you get down to the red layer and you've then got a simple case of getting the cable plugged in, ribbon cable out to the side, and then you want to pop back the next top 2-3 layers and reattach, etc. So this case already has the mod to allow you to have the expansion cables, etc. So that's quite a nice feature. I have another case where that's actually a change, it requires a change of the side, so this case is already kind of prepared for that. This case, like a lot of the cases, is very much relying on all the socketry on the circuit board, so the USB case connectors, the network connector, the HDMI connector, etc. Actually supports the circuit board. Nothing loose at all, so I'm modelling that quite violently. It feels and looks really nice, as you can see where the line out of all the holes are for allow ventilation, etc. Of course the screws act as slight feet, so I've now got, what do I say, maybe 3-4 millimeters ground clearance. Nothing amazing. There are no rubber feet in with this, which no real issue. I don't think it needs it. It feels like quite a soft acrylic or nylon, these white threads. Don't believe there's going to be any issues there, and like I say, I've got it so the nuts are facing up just to avoid any other possible risk. And I'm going to just very gently hand tighten these now. So using the tool supplied, it's really very finger light touch. I don't want to tighten this up at all. Sorry, snugly at all. This is really just a case of a little bit of compression and just really making sure that there's a little bit of bite from the nut onto the thread, so that it's not going to just undo with general handling and moving the Pi about. Certainly I don't want the top to fall off when I'm doing things. So there we have a Pibo case. It's really rather snazzy and clear tops and bottoms, which I think are absolutely compulsory for Raspberry Pis. I can't go on about that enough. I really think it's important to let the people using these things and seeing these things, and kids and young adults, etc., seeing what processors look like, seeing you know, ribbon connector, seeing diodes and transistors and capacitors and, you know, all these various connectors. A lot of people are used to seeing what a USB connector looks like from the outside, and Cat5, RJ45 can Ethernet cable plug-in points on networks, but I think it really makes just a little difference to let them see that it's a little unit, it's soldered onto a circuit board that has connections, and if you've got really good eyes, you want to follow them back, you can say, okay, that's got something to do with that, and that's the communication side, and okay, the sound here, and there's one-way diodes here, and there's all kinds of various, you know, things you can quite early learn about a real basic circuit board that I think will just, you know, see people in good stead. And I think that really brings alive what I think the Raspberry Pi Foundation are doing, trying to bring back better understanding and programming of a little home computer.